What's going on, Lakers Corner family, Lakers Fast Break family? Not much to really be excited about, man. Lakers dropped game one against the Minnesota Timberwolves 117-95. And here we have our boy Joe and myself. I don't know if anybody will be joining us here soon. And we're going to talk about the game. We were all on playback watching this honestly tragedy, to be real with you. And we're here now, man. Everyone that's here in the chat, appreciate you guys being here. Please do make sure to like and subscribe. If you have not already subscribed to the Lakers Fast Break, please subscribe to and like Lakers Corner. But man, let's go ahead and get into it. Joe, I was not on the same playback as you because I was on my Lakers Corner playback, but no Joker, he was on mine and he was on yours, and he kept saying you were raging, Joe. So you know what the fans want from you, Joe. You know what the fans want. Talk to us about this game, and it's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too. The rage came from after the 3-point shot from DiVincenzo at the end of the first half. Something that's plagued the Lakers all season. The inability to have it click that end of the quarter scoring continues to affect this team because their mindset, their focused is just not 100%. It's consistently lazy. It's consistently lackadaisical, and there's no accountability. JJ Riddick likely doesn't have enough authority to really lay into these guys, lay into a LeBron or maybe even lay into a Luka, and try to coach these guys into getting their foot up everyone's rear end. I just don't think that it's just the mental part is just not there. It hasn't been all year. So they met a team that was playing above their heads, which they were. They made 21 threes tonight. You're not likely to see that again from Minnesota. They're not like that. But the issue is you lose your first game at home, first home game you've had in the playoffs, actual home game, because 2020 was at in Orlando for that bubble run. You have a team that hadn't been in the playoffs at home to start the series since 2012. So no excitement with that, no urgency, no pride, no nothing. Didn't have anything. And the same mistakes that they had during the regular season, they continue to have them. And when they are in a deficit, when they are the proverbial back against the wall, all they do is dribble, 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 shoot threes to try to get back in the game. They have no system. They have no balance. They have no idea on how to create space in those moments. There's nothing. What is there? What is the problem? You're supposed to be the best players on the planet. You're supposed to be all-time greats. You're the Lakers. You're held to a higher standard. Yet criticism, and this is what I ultimately think it is, if you criticize a team's lack of fortitude, the immediate response usually is, this isn't a joke. This doesn't it doesn't matter where it's coming from. This is exactly what happened. You don't need to be a coach in the NBA for 40 years to recognize the fact that these guys have no sense of the moment, at least today. And that's unfortunate. Luka came out the gate, which is something that he notoriously has done virtually his own career. Dropped 16 points in the first quarter, but they were not taking advantage of those moments. They weren't putting the foot on the gas and making sure it's an 18-point lead instead of a 9-point lead or a 7-point lead or an 8-point lead. They get lackadaisical. I think that's the nicest term I can use. And they think that they can just coast. There is no mental toughness with this team. And the engine comes from the common denominator that's been here for 7 to 8 years. And I'm not going to get into it too much. I'm just saying sometimes things need to change because you keep changing parts around a vehicle when the carburetor is just not going to do what you want it to do. I should say the transmission. Sorry. You keep changing the tires. You keep changing the oil. You keep changing the filters. You keep changing all these things, but the transmission is messed up. And it's not necessarily all of a singular player's fault or these two players' fault, because there's also a lot of guys being dependent on that are not likely going to be what you think they're going to be. Jackson Hayes is not going to be this alley-oop crazy dunking guy. He might have been that in spurts in the regular season, but this is the playoffs. That gets neutralized. And DFS wasn't making shots. Rui started out really well, but then they adjusted. You adjust in the playoffs, and then he couldn't make a shot. AR got out the gate slow, started making shots later, but the problem is it wasn't fragmented. It was just defragmented. It was anytime somebody got hot, the other one wasn't able to get hot, or the other one was kind of out of the offense. And then of course the defense was horrible in terms of being able to get any kind of momentum rebound, because they kept getting rebounds after misses. So yeah, another thing that I wanted to mention is the Lakers have been notoriously bad after long layoffs, and I'm not talking about 9 days, 8 days. I'm talking about 3-4 days. So I guess I forgot. I should have probably, maybe I was kind of flying high a little bit because they were in the playoffs and they were playing at home, but they have been horrible off of big gaps between games all year. What they do next, and of course they got another couple days before game 2, so we got to wait till what, Monday?
Tuesday,
sorry. I would say it's a must win.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot drop. Joe, can you imagine how bad it would be to lose home court advantage by dropping those first two
Here's why
games?
here's why it's a must win. This usually when a team isn't elite, and the Lakers are not elite, they're very good, but things have to go correct for them to really be able to be effective. The discussion before the playoffs was I wanted a certain seeding because I felt travel, I felt the wear and tear would be lessened. The problem now is you're down 1-0. No matter what, you've lost home court, which means you're likely going to have to take 2 trips to Minnesota. Minnesota might as well be in the Eastern Conference. So you have now guaranteed, very likely, that this game is, if you were to win it even, you're likely going to go at 6. But in my estimation, usually when you're not that elite team, like the 09, I remember the 09 Lakers, they lost the first game against Houston in the second round. They had to go 7 with that team. That's how bad losing that first game at home is. If they had lost game 2, that's manageable. You go into a game 3 sometimes, you win it on their floor. Now it's kind of back to even. It's like winning the first 2 games at home, and then you steal the next game as well, and then you're kind of back into where you need to. Or maybe they win that game and that it's 2-2, but then you win game 5, and then you come back to Minnesota and you end up winning game 6. But this is now likely, in my view, either going to be a complete disaster for the Lakers, losing 4, or they're going to probably have to win in 7.
Losing 4 is crazy, Joe. Man, that would be a disaster. Wow, you talk about a team that already was favored coming into the series and then losing in 4. That would be turnaround of a lifetime, man. But Joe, there's some things that we need to address here. But before we get to that, I just want to give some of my thoughts here on this game. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Luka came out the gate, bust, and he had 16 of the Lakers. I believe they had like 23 points the first quarter. He had like 16 of our 23. But in then second quarter, Joe, like everything just shut down. It looked like they found our the master shower head and just turned it off. Buckets couldn't go. They started clamping up on the defensive end. And then honestly, to be real with you, like as far as the game story, and from that point forward, the game was honestly out of our hands. They started shooting the lights out. But like I said, there's some things I want to talk about here with you, Joe, and that's like, how much do you take this game like into account, but also how much do you realize of like shit, I guarantee I'll put a lot of money on the line that the Minnesota Timberwolves as a team is not going to continue to shoot 50% from the 3-point line throughout this 7-game series. I'll put a lot of money on the line that, Julius Randle is not going to go 4 from 6 from the 3-point line again. Nas Reed, 6 from 9 from the 3-point line. Don't get me wrong. I know they're a good 3-point shooting team, this is one of the things that I talked about in my preview of the series video, which I dropped on my Lakers Corner page, which everyone in here, please go check out my Lakers Corner page. I did a series preview talking about this matchup, some of the key factors both for Lakers and Timberwolves. And, for the Timberwolves, I talked about their elite 3-point shooting, but 50% from the 3-point line, that's not sustainable, guys. So while I do think it was a bad loss, I think that I don't want to see too many people caught up in like prisoner of the moment type situation here. But that's what I wanted to flip around to you, Joe, and ask and say, how much do you take this game into account? I mean, again, they shot 50% from the 3-point line. Do you expect that come game 2? Because I don't. I'll be honest with you. I expect them to shoot well.
No, not really. But I was worried about. You worry about elite players, and elite is an interesting word because I've not been a very big fan of Anthony Edwards' elite status that he's been given. But I always worry about the time where he does get to that. And while he wasn't really the guy tonight in terms of going to that level. He was good, but he wasn't elite. The issue tonight was McDaniels looked like he was 2 steps ahead of everyone today. If he's 2 steps ahead of everyone, the rest of the series is done. Julius Randle isn't going to make those threes every game. Nas Reed is a guy that you expect to hit shots because that's what he does for a living. You have Anthony Edwards who can drop now 35 and 40, right? He can drop a 35 and a 40 burger on you, especially at home when he's got the energy too. That's usually how that works. But if McDaniels is going to be 2 steps ahead of everyone, that's not only the X factor, that's the Y and Z factor. And the Lakers don't have anyone that can deal with that. You deal with Nas Reed, you accept what you're going to get with Anthony Edwards, but you can't have a third guy that plays the way McDaniels played tonight. He played virtually a perfect game. He only missed 2 shots, but his defense was amazing, and he was ahead of everyone at every turn. And it's not just scoring. It wasn't just man-on-man defense. It wasn't just switching on defense. It was offensive rebounds. It was defensive rebounds. He was the complete player tonight. And he was, to me, the MVP tonight.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's not gonna. It's a lot of things in life, especially when it's something you know well that you've watched. Just like a gambler, just like anyone that watches sports, you get a feeling because you've watched what's going on, and you know that sometimes you don't even have the details in your head. You just an instinct speaks to you. I didn't like the Minnesota matchup. When I started hearing this morning too, I didn't hear it so much yesterday or like the last few days, but this morning, Lakers are gonna win this in 5. Lakers are, because I think they got mesmerized by that idiot Shannon Sharp. I didn't understand what they meant by they're gonna win in 5. If they're gonna win in 5, that means they have to win the first 2 games. And while I was hopeful that they would do that, I wasn't in any way knowing if that was going to happen. I had no idea. This is a worse matchup than Golden State. Golden State doesn't have a star on it in the sense of being able to impose their will, and they don't have thoroughbreds. Absolutely. Jimmy Butler is 40 years old. I'm exaggerating. Steph is close to 40 years old. Draymond is a triple single player. Kuminga is half there, half man, half unavailable. So you don't have a team there other than the sheer will of what's left of Steph's legendary career and what's left of soon, what will be a Hall of Fame career, Jimmy Butler and also Draymond Green. Those guys don't have what Minnesota has in terms of the youth and athleticism. And they showed it today.
And And I'll just go out and give us all here, Joe, myself, Gerald, all of us some credit here because this was a matchup that we said we did not want to see. I multiple times went out on a limb and said, I don't want to see a team that can hurt us from three and a team that can hurt us inside because I knew we had no size. And Howard Hill, going to give you a quick shout out. He's talking about size and rebounds and threes hurt. That's exactly what I talked about in my series preview, talking about the fact that their size, and especially since when we got Luca, we got rid of AD. There's been a glaring hole in the middle right there for us, and at times JJ Redick's been able to put it together a team effort to where we can try to fill up that hole. But come playoffs, man, a lot of these weaknesses in your armor get exposed, and this is one of the things that I worried about most. But ER in the chat here is saying that it was not the threes that killed us. Okay, so I would love to talk to you about just going back and not only just looking at just this game, them shooting 21 of 42 from 3-point line, that's 50% from the 3-point line, but also Joe was just talking about Jaden McDaniels, man. Come on, guys. Jaden McDaniels scores 25 points. Granted, shout out JD McDaniels. This game, 3 for 3. Previous game, 8 points, 0 from 3 from the 3-point line. And I'm going to continue to go 0 for 3 again, 2 for 4, 0 for 3, 0 for 2, 0 for 2, 0 for 4. Like, guys, the guy had a crazy outburst offensively, but this is not sustainable basketball here, though, guys. Like, I just need some people to understand this and just not die as in prisoners in the moment. Let's fix what we need to fix. Let's work on what we need to work on, right? But my biggest thing is let's not act like Jaden McDaniels is a 25 points per game type scorer, because he's not that, and he's not going to continue to go off for that. They caught fire, man, and you have to respect it. And as the Lakers, again, something I talked about in the series preview, you got to run teams off the 3-point line. Because if you don't run teams off the 3-point line, it could get tricky quick, especially with an elite 3-point shooting team like this, man. So just want to go ahead and throw that out there. But I definitely 100% agree with you, brother. It was for sure the 3-point shooting. Now, I'll give the Timberwolves bench credit as well, but it was 100% the 3-point shooting as well. But let's see here. We have some things going on here in the chat. And for everybody that's out here in the chat, appreciate you guys supporting. We have 127 people here, man. Please do make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the Lakers Fast Break, to Lakers Corner. But come on, man. Let me see. You are a complete liar. We have the videos. Ooh, you said we have Luca. I don't know who ER is talking about, to be honest with you. But let's go ahead.
ER looks like he needs to go to the ER. His brain is slowly melting from stupidness. ER saying, first of all, he already made a stupid comment before, and then says that this team didn't lose because of 3-point shots. So explain to me how we didn't lose, how the Lakers didn't lose this game because of 3-point shots. This team,
please.
They scored 63 points on 3-point shots. So how does that happen? That's half their points. So unless you're just acting like a complete waxed anus, your brain is mush. Just go to the ER. Live up to your name. Go get some help. Seriously.
go get
more than that. I'm gonna use Jaden McDaniels as a prime example. We have discussed on this show several times that points in the NBA sometimes are not as impactful, right? Somebody can drop 20, 25 points and it's a blowout for their team. Tonight, you saw 25 points from Jaden McDaniel, but it was really 40 points. The impact of those points, when he got them, how he got them, was more tied to the emotional part of the game and the emotional part of the team that they were playing, which was the Lakers. It was at worst. I felt that half his points came at the worst time. Lakers were making a run. Lakers were trying to stop a long run. It was at an important part of the game, and that's what killed the Lakers. Those 12 points, I'm just going to throw that out there. The 12 points that he scored out of the 25 were more impactful than just 12 points. It was momentum killing, or was momentum extending, or it was emotionally devastating to whoever was covering him or whoever he was covering. That's basketball. When I talk to you about moments, when I talk to you about you have to watch the game, you have to feel what's going on. You're never going to know from watching YouTube. You're never going to know from watching the box score. You have to watch the damn game, and you have to watch it when you don't know what's going to happen, because you're never going to feel that. I can go watch this game now and enjoy what I didn't see, but I'm never going to be invested emotionally if I already know what happened. That matters. And the Lakers have not disappointed in being consistently lazy and unmotivated, because there's this false sense of superiority that seems to resonate on this team. And it was before Luka, it's after Luka, before Reeves, after Reeves, before JJ Redick, after JJ Redick.
And Joe,
And at what point will this stop?
yeah, Joe, something that me and Sean's talked about here before is we feel like a lot of times we get that like unwavering amount of like unreal type confidence. I think it's a lot of times playing on LeBron led type teams. So I'll just throw out there. I don't know if you have anything to say on that, but just really quick, Riddell said the game plan was to let McDaniels shoot. Stop saying he can't do it again. You're wrong on that. If you leave him open, he can do it again. Riddell, no. I guarantee you, JD McDaniels will not put up another 25 points. This was his season high. Actually, no, I take it back. Sorry, he scored 29 points in March against Charlotte. So this was his second season high here, guys. McDaniels is not putting up another almost perfect game. Man went 11 of 13 from the field and 3 of 3 from the three-point line. Bro missed 2 shots the entire game. Riddell, I will put my money on the line that he won't do that again. So I'm going to go ahead and double up on it, Riddell. Don't be prisoners of the moment. JD McDaniels is not going to kill you. And guess what, bro? If JD McDaniels is the way they beat us in this series, oh, man, that was a great chess match. But I guarantee it won't have. JD McDaniels will not be the reason that they go ahead and win this series. His scoring won't be. Now his defense, his picking up our perimeter defenders early, that's all key for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But if he leads the way in scoring, I'll tell you what, Riddell, we are sitting in a really good place. If throughout the series, he's their quote unquote scorer. So I'll go ahead and just say that. But Joe, we have the classic Robert Wheeler question here. Shout out Robert Wheeler in the chat. Robert, appreciate you, brother. He said, Joe, do you think this Lakers loss was more about underestimating their opponent? I think so, because they were too happy. They avoided Denver, Clippers, and red hot Golden State in the first round.
Underestimated, maybe. And this has been the norm on long, extended layoffs between games. This is the longest since the All-Star break. And we saw what happened when they came out of the All-Star break. They lost it to Charlotte in a really bad game. Athletic teams like Minnesota and against a team like the Lakers that has vulnerability is a dangerous thing. Not because I don't feel like the Lakers can still win the series, but it's the fact that it will tax them out. This has always been about getting their labor intensiveness lowered. While the Golden State Warriors are a shoot happy, 3-point happy team and they're out running around doing whatever, they're not like Minnesota athletically. They're not. It's a different roster, and I think I thought there was a better chance for them to succeed and not have the wear and tear against Golden State. Even if it went 6, the hour flight to Golden State is much better than a 6-hour flight to Minnesota, and likely it's going to be a couple flights over there, and then you still got to come back. It's a round trip, so you're looking at 12 hours. These things matter. They do matter. I remember vividly when the Bulls won 72 games in 1996. Phil Jackson had commented the reason why they were able to do that at that time was because they were centralized in Chicago. They never had to really travel across the country because they were centralized. And that lessens the load. So there's little things. There's natural. If you've ever played sports, organized sports, and whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's pros, whatever, you know what that feeling is when you have to travel and when you have to sit in a bus and when you have to nurse injuries while being on the bus. And I played 6 weeks with a broken hand. I had to wrap that damn thing every single game. And it was a pain in the ass to deal with all the shit to just prep for that game. So now imagine that. Imagine now having to be on a flight. Imagine the pressures of the media, the pressures of morons like us talking about them on YouTube and on TV and on whatever podcasts. And then you have bigger morons like ER talking about stuff that we didn't even say that he imagined in his mush head. Like, it's a lot of that stuff accumulates and it becomes something that maybe you might think isn't stressful, but you're still hearing it. It's still kind of coming at you. The Lakers are going to have to do some soul searching here before Tuesday. They have to understand who they are, really who they are. And I don't really think we've ever really understood who they are. And maybe it's unfair to say that we should understand. This team has only existed for 3 months and 18 days.
Come on.
That's it. Man, actually, it's not even 3 months. It's 2 months and 18 days. It might be longer than that. I get mixed up with my days in terms of what's okay. So 31, yeah. So it's February is only 28 days. Sometimes I forget that.
Yeah.
So I don't like. I would say the thing that pissed me off the most was that half court. I'm sorry, not that end of the half shot by DiVincenzo, because that's something that has continued to plague this team game in and game out, and they have not worked on it. They have that, and being able to inbound the ball when it matters, right? Like, these things that they're not able to execute tells you the personality and the focus of this team. And until these things are fixed, the little things, you're not going to really get the result likely that you want.
Yeah. Absolutely, Joe. And Lakers Doomer is saying that I'm just saying that it's luck. No. I'm not saying that it's luck at all, brother. I'm saying that you cannot expect the team to continuously throughout a series shoot 50% from the 3-point line when that's, again, shooting above their head, shooting and scoring above Jaden McDaniels' head, shooting above Julius Randle's head. But sure, I mean, if you want to say I'm calling it luck, go right ahead, brother. I've given you lots of reasons. Like I tell all of our guys here all the time, men lie.
We didn't say too much rest. We said too much between games.
Yes.
If you followed the game, if you followed the season, mind you, we've watched all 82 games this year. I don't know if you have.
Been on playback.
But when you see them, when you've seen them take 2 or 3 days between games, you saw what happened in the Charlotte game when after the All-Star break. This has been a consistent irritation by the fans. The fact that they're supposed to get this rest to rest their bodies, but their brains get lost when they get back. Even worse than that is usually when they're playing in pressure situations. Having to make a stop at the end of quarters, having to make sure you can inbound the ball with space, making sure you get the ball to the guy that can actually hit clutch shots, which, by the way, they didn't do today again. I mean, they don't set any plays up for Luka. He is the clutch gene you have, yet you have LeBron, and I understand if he's going to the basket, that is a good situation, but you needed a shot in that moment, not him getting to the basket from half court. If you wanted him to go to the hole, you have to set up some kind of ISO at some point. You want to set up the ISO. There was no ISO setup. He was basically dribbling, and no one had spread out. And at that point, they just sat in their zones. If they could, dive into wherever he was going, which they did once he got toward the basket, then all of a sudden he missed a shot. I know the other team makes you do. See, the other thing is too is the other team's going to make you make mistakes, and I understand that. I understand when a team is more talented than you, but I don't believe the Minnesota Timberwolves are better, are more talented than this team. They're more athletic. They're younger in important areas, and talented. The skill is there. But when you have Luka Doncic and you have LeBron James and you have a really good third guy in Austin Reeves, and you guys have been playing here for a minute. I know it's not been long for a minute, but then LeBron and AR have. I'd like to think that your veteran leadership and your ability to be smart, because that's what everyone tells me you guys are. I'd like to think that can come in handy here, but it's not. It's just not. You're not doing the little things, and they're still not doing the little things. And this is the result. You shouldn't lose. They were losing by 27 at home in a game one in a first round. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry. Not as a 3 seed. When the hell does that
Absolutely
happen?
not.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's
Absolutely.
terrible.
It's terrible, Joe. And Joe, to bless our presidents, even though he just finished the game, Anthony Edwards is here watching our post game show, Joe. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
we've been having a lot of current players join
LeBron,
the show. How's your
it's
how's your
hilarious.
calf, Anthony? Did you want a wheelchair? Were you looking for a wheelchair when you were in there?
Tell him, Joe. Tell him.
Seriously, you came back out right away and did that little turnaround jumper
Like it was
like it
nothing.
was the
Come
first game
on.
of the year. Like what were you doing? Did you need to take a shit? Did you
On
get
some Paul
diarrhea and you
Pierce.
just acted like your calf was hurting? Is that what happened?
Tell him, Joe. Tell him.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
can't do it.
Interesting how these guys. By the way, for the love of God, Jesus Christ, if you're gonna lay on the ground for 15 minutes, can you
Mhm.
make sure something permanent has happened
Yes.
between him,
Not come
between
back.
Nas Reed? LeBron is a huge issue in this. See, that's the leadership of the league. Is you have LeBron
Mhm.
doing that shit, everybody else does it.
Yep.
Get off your ass, man. Stop acting like you got shot by a 12 gauge. Seriously.
Tell him, Joe. Tell him. All right, Joe.
You got football players that get derailed on a slant route and they get up.
Get
You
up.
guys get hit on the elbow and you're like, oh my God. Oh. Sitting there for 10, 15 minutes wondering what the hell happened to your life or your balls.
Man. Joe. JY Hen has a great question. Appreciate you, JY, for the question. He said, "Hey John, what are you expecting from LeBron being a second option for the first time in the playoffs? He's having some troubles adjusting." John and Joe, I'm gonna just real quick jump on this one, Joe. Then I want you to tell the chat and everybody what you feel like. But I mean, number one thing I've been saying, man, ever since Lucas came to the team, I feel like we haven't really seen like a full LeBron yet, because I feel like he's deferring a lot. And I get it, I get it when you're playing against I mean, besides LeBron, like I would say Luka is probably like one of the most next, like, I need the ball to make an effect on this game type players. Like, you can have Luka off ball, but then you're just underusing and misutilizing Luka Doncic versus LeBron. Like, he's kind of forced to play a little bit more off the ball when he's just used to having the ball in his hands a lot more. Like, if LeBron doesn't have the ball in his hands, what he needs to do is be running the lanes. But it's kind of hard to be always running lanes at 40 years old. So JY Hen, like, I think that's a great observation, because I think he's been having some trouble adjusting to it. Just not understanding, and then just, I think at times deferring too much. To be honest with you, I just see a lot of, hey, here Luka had a ball, and then LeBron just stand there. No off ball cuts, no setting a off ball screen, none of that. So I mean, I definitely think that LeBron's had a hard time with that. Joe, how do you feel about this question from JY?
Uh LeBron, I don't believe at this stage in his career can ever really be a 2, even if he wanted to. His game isn't set up for that. He's not a stand back 3-point shooter. He's not a guy that's going to go for alley oops like a center. He can do it once in a while, but it's not a consistent thing that he's going to do. I don't know what his value is right now if he's not, I guess, helping clear the area for Luka.
Mhm.
clear the area can be being able to operate a pick and roll with someone, getting to the basket and opening up the 3-point shooters. It's difficult. It's hard to say what this team can be with these guys because they've only played together a couple months. They're just playing off their talent. I'm not an ISO guy. I never will. I don't think I ever will be an ISO fan, but you accept it because that's what the NBA has turned into. But LeBron's game does not operate with him being a floater, a roamer. That's not really who he is. So I don't know what they're going to do. Take turns, sure. Problem is, Luka never gets the ball when it's LeBron's turn. And that guy can shoot. I don't know what kind of offense they're going to run maybe next year when they're still playing. But I don't want to get ahead of this. But the reality of the Luka LeBron short era that it's going to be is they need the right cogs around them. Gee, where have I heard that before, Joe? Gee, LeBron always needs help. You're right. You're right. It's true, especially now in his 22nd season. You can't play this guy 40 minutes a game anymore. If he's going to continue to play NBA basketball, he can't be at 9 on he can't be in the red at 9 in the vehicle. It's over. And if he's not in control of the offense, it's like telling Peyton Manning to play a run heavy offense, which coincidentally, as I mentioned, that he sort of did do that in 2015. They ended up winning the Super Bowl that year, but their defense was amazing. The Denver Broncos defense was stout. They had Von Miller, who was Super Bowl MVP and the guy. Like he was at that time, you could argue was the best defensive player in the league. But the Lakers don't have that to back up the deficiencies. They don't have a stout center who could be a defensive player of the year type guy or drop 20 and 10 to help out. So that's something that we're going to have to cross our fingers on and hope they can achieve in the offseason. And that's, again, a discussion for the offseason. But as of right now, I don't really know. And here's the thing. LeBron is not washed in the sense of his effectiveness in a season. He's doing very well. Man averaging 24, 8 and 8 or whatever it is that he averages. But that is not important. Anyone that was viable to play, Jordan late in his career, Kobe late in his career, those guys were still able to play. But they didn't want to be those players that were on the downside. They wanted to be at their peak before they left. They never wanted to be mediocre. Not mediocre, I'm sorry. They never wanted to be just to play. They wanted their career to be meaningful in those moments. That's why Kobe really retired in 16. He could have played another 2 or 3 years. He's very capable. Look at he dropped 60 points in the last game he played. But in LeBron's case, LeBron obviously loves the game. He loves the money he's making. And he might not care as much. He might not care as much about the being on teams that might not be 100% in winning championships. And that's fine too. It's okay. But that's what this is there's not enough on this team, and we knew that before this. Things have to play out correctly for them to have a chance. And I think that Tuesday's game will tell us a little bit more about what's likely going to happen in the series. If the Lakers win the game, even if it's a close game, then it's like, okay, this is going to be one of those games that's going to be tight. And then how they react in 3 and 4, they're going to have to take one of those games. If they take one of those games in Minnesota, it's 2-2. Then it's likely going to go 6 or 7, obviously. And that's just kind of how things play out. And we're going to have to accept the fact that they didn't do themselves any favor by taking advantage of a home court advantage.
Man, Joe, We are getting a lot of people just freaking out here in the chat. This Lakers doomer guy is just thinks that the world is over. His name being Lakers doomer makes kind of sense. And then some people think that they think I'm coping by calling it luck. Guys, it's not luck. Look at the regular season. They did not shoot this well. JD McDaniels did not shoot this well. They are not going to continue to shoot the lights out like this. It's actually similar to when we beat OKC that first time. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was talking to one of my friends who's an OKC fan, and I was like, oh man, a win is a win. I love it. So I'm not taking nothing away from the Timberwolves win the same way I didn't take nothing away from our first win against OKC. But the way we shot, y'all, come on, man. We were like 15 of 20 from the 3-point line at halftime that game. Sometimes the basketball gods and your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ make sure everything goes your way and you not missing that night. Now, this happened to be a night like that for Jaden McDaniels, who, Eshawn, he's here in the chat. He said Jaden McDaniels was a X factor tonight because everyone knows he's not going to continue to shoot like this. So, like I said, I'm not discrediting the Minnesota Timberwolves 3-point shooting, so much so that I made a video and I talked about what the Lakers need to watch out for. And that's the first thing I talked about is their elite 3-point shooting and how you got to run teams off the line. But when I said that, I was not taking into account that a JD McDaniels pops out for 25 points, it goes 3 or 3 from the 3-point line. And just because, like I said, y'all, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Go ahead and look at JD McDaniels. Go look him up on ESPN. Go ahead and look up the last time he hit 3 threes in the game. Last time he hit 3 threes in the game, guys, was that game that he scored 29 against Charlotte. So, I mean, I'm just going off the numbers here, guys. Just going off the numbers. So don't want to hear none of that coping or whatever.
It's clear that a lot of the people tonight are gloating and really embellishing what we've said because that's kind of how they jerk off. That's what they jerk off to. I don't know. That's the only thing I think of. By the way, Joker, Utah was playing for a playoff spot in that last game against the Lakers. So I don't know who you're talking about. They gave him 60. I don't know what that means. Utah was busting their ass to try to win that game. So if you want to continue to discredit Kobe's career, which that's always the response. Well, of course he scored 81 points. He shot it 46 times. Well, he made 26 shots of them. So what's your point? Oh, and by the way, you ever try to get a shot off in the NBA?
Tell him, Joe.
You know how hard it is to get a shot off in the NBA? There's a reason why these guys have elevation as high as they do. You know why? Because a lot of tall guys, a lot of long arms. These guys are the best athletes on the planet, and they're big athletes. They're deers. They're deers. That's what they are. They jump, hop. They're freaks of nature. So you go put up a shot in the NBA, Mister. They let him. One of the more asinine, stupid comments that you can say is somebody let somebody do something. That's just stupid. It's stupid. I'm not even going to call it ignorant because I think it's an insult to the word ignorant. It's just stupid. The word stupid is a very impactful word because we use excuses in today's society. Oh, well, this happened to this guy over here and he was from this town or his parents didn't do this and all this fucking shit. You know what? I don't give a fuck. Okay? Stupid is stupid. 99% of the people out there know right from wrong. You know how I know? Because when someone's doing something bad, usually they try to keep things secret. That automatically puts you in that position of knowing you're doing something wrong because you're trying to avoid getting in trouble. That's how I know you're bullshit. If you're just going out and doing whatever like Kanye West, making Nazi stuff, that guy's fucked up. That guy's messed up. That guy sounds like he don't want to be here anymore.
He's going through something.
Okay, whatever he's going through.
Come talk to me, brother.
Yeah. Somebody needs to go to his house and do some kind of exorcism. If you're that guy, it's funny. I was listening to Marlon Wayans talking to Shannon Sharp, and I'm sorry, it was Damon Wayans because they had the whole Wayans crew there. So Damon said, "I'm not going to laugh at," and he was talking about Kanye. That's why I brought him up. He said, "I'm not going to go like." I'm worried about that homeless guy who's screaming at the sky for no reason. I'm not going to sit there and go, he's crazy. Something's wrong. I'm not going to laugh at him. Like, and that's the thing is stupidity is usually the easiest way to explain something, and it's probably 100% right, but we make excuses. So, anyways, the Lakers on Tuesday have to come out and show not only show themselves that they are serious. Today, they didn't. Luka came out, dropped 16 in the first quarter. Where was Austin at the beginning? Where was LeBron? Were they just letting were they letting Luka cook? Okay, all right, that made sense. I'm not saying that was wrong, but I do want to know this: what happened in the first 6 minutes of the second quarter? Why didn't you pick up the slack when Luka sat?
Come on.
You didn't.
Come on.
You didn't. Rui hit shots at the beginning because Luka was a problem, created space. He hit shots. It's simple basketball. Look, basketball is not a complicated thing. It's not. It's not. Whether you're running the flex offense, whether you're running the triangle might be a little bit more difficult, but you'll learn it eventually. It's an equal opportunity offense. But it's still basketball at the end of the day. You still need to be able to shoot, guard, and dribble. So I'm just saying, like, the Lakers need to have, if they're gonna switch off who's in charge during the game. Well, when Luka sat, you need to take over what he was doing, but it didn't look like anybody did.
Honestly, I think Joe, I think sometimes people here in the chat, they have like selective hearing. Like they won't.
It's not even. I wouldn't even say selective hearing. It's called. They want to believe what they're saying, yes, so that they can win the argument.
Yes, Joe. They'll say that we said something we didn't even say, right? Like so many times I talked about the Lakers' inability, and again, it's really hard when you're out here, coming at us and you ain't even watched the videos where we're breaking down the series. Again, in that video, I talked about the Lakers' inability that we've had all season long of running teams off the three-point line, and that's something that we had to watch out for, right? So when people here in the chat are saying, "Oh, well, they created open looks," they did create they created open looks, sure, but the Lakers need to be better at running teams off the three-point line. And then to the Lakers doomer and that other guy. The way I read his name is Bojan Bogdanovic. That's what I think when I see his name. But he's talking about well, let me see. I gotta bring up his chat. Oh, he's talking about about shooting from the three-point line, right? Guys, PJ Washington, he talked about PJ Washington shooting from the three-point line 49% last year, right? Guys, we're talking about PJ Washington.
Hold on, let me say this one more time.
I'm going to say shooter. Go ahead.
Let me say it one more time. ER, open your whatever earwax or piles of shit that's in your ear. Open it up. I'm going to give you 2 seconds. 1, 2. I never said they had too much rest. Stop putting words in my mouth. You know that we don't like that here. Stop putting fucking words in my mouth. I said when they have a long layoff, they don't play well in the next game. I never mentioned rest. It's layoff. They're stagnant. Their energy isn't there. NBA basketball is about stamina. It's about rhythm. It's about momentum, right? That's what I'm talking about. Stop saying I said rest. I didn't fucking say rest. It has nothing to do with rest. There you go.
Joe, tell him, Joe. Tell him. And Lakers doomer, this is you sound like, well, not you sound like, I know you do not watch basketball, because this is the comment you just told me right now. You said Michael Porter Jr. shot 55% from three last year. Guess that was luck that made us lose. That's how playoffs work. You are legitimately trying to compare Michael Porter Jr., one of the best just catch and shooters, to a Jaden McDaniels. You think Jaden McDaniels is going to be able to continue a performance that, like, how Michael Porter Jr. put up? Get real, bro. Get real, bro. Like, I'm all with the argument, I'm all with the debating, but when you say dumb shit like this, and when you just come out of left field and don't know what the fuck you're talking about, then that's when it's like there's no point in me wasting my time talking to you, or you even being here. I'd say, go do a job application. Like, I don't know, like get off the stream and go get a job, or go do something here, brother, or go watch basketball. Because if you're trying to tell me that you think that Jaden McDaniels is going to continue to shoot like that, brother, lions don't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. There's no point in me arguing.
Look, here's the deal. Okay, the Timberwolves are in the top 5 in all the major categories with 3-point shots, whether it's attempts, whether it's making them, or whether it's how many they've whatever. Let me see here. I brought it up. So attempt wise, they're shooting about 40 a game. Percentage wise, they're fourth in the league. And then let's see here, percentage wise, and then of course the ones that were made. Yeah, made, they're fifth. So they're a 3-point shooting team. But McDaniels isn't a good shooter from three. Neither is Julius Randle. But they were tonight. They were tonight. And not only were they good there, they were good at the little things too. Being at the right place at the right time, getting rebounds and putting them back. And the Lakers looked like they were just standing around watching everything. Where have we seen that all year? We've seen it all year. They're just not, there's no urgent, there's no click. There's no next level click in this team. They're mentally lazy.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. They've been mentally lazy all year, and they've gotten over that because they do have talent. But in terms of the little things, the fundamental things, tonight was very much a fundamental issue in the same way, except in this case, it's the traditional fundamental issues where they weren't able to catch any of these guys to stop them from shooting wide open shots and not boxing out to make sure they don't get second chance points.
Sam Kuhn or Sam Khan, love his chat. He said, everyone convinced that Minnesota is going to win a series, go ahead and put your money where your mouth is. So I'd love to run some bets here. I still got $100 bounty out there for his name's I Speak the Truth, but he just hasn't came since he's owed that since he's you got to run that 100. And then Riddell, I've been saying again, here you guys go with your not even, I wouldn't even call it selective listening. You're just not listening at all. I've been told you the game plan is to run teams off the 3-point line and not give them open looks like how we did so much so today. That especially, when you got a three, I've seen so many threes tonight where it was swing action, and now they got an open spot up three, and nobody's closing out to it. Nobody's trying to run them off the 3-point line. And then YYC, he asked for what my prediction was before the series. I should make you go watch my video, but I'm gonna just tell you, I originally had Lakers in 6, and I'm still standing on the Lakers winning this series. Not gonna freak out over one game. Not gonna be prisoner in the moment. And again, not knocking the Timberwolves as a team. Gave them all their credit as a team in the video, and I give them all their credit as a team now. But it's just, it's still, I'm not losing my mind over one game like how the chat is. It's really
they had a dud quarter again. That's another consistent issue they had all year. They got outscored by 18 points in the second quarter, and the big contributor to that is Luka wasn't in the game when they went on the run, and the momentum never left. Even when they made that little run in the second half, that wasn't really a real run. That was just one of those things where, okay, they started making some shots, but that was because Ant-Man had to probably go to the bathroom or do whatever the hell he was doing over there. And as soon as he got back, everything went back to normal. But this is not the way they lost tonight is not that much of a surprise. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can get over it yet. I don't know. I didn't like the matchup. I didn't like the matchup at the beginning. And it was purely from instinct. I didn't comment about it too much because sometimes your instincts might not be 100% on it, right? But let's say 8 out of 10, this might have been maybe 2 out of the 10, right? But I don't know. I didn't like this matchup because Minnesota came in like they had nothing to lose. If Minnesota loses to the Lakers, no one gives a shit. No one cares. No one's going to call the Minnesota fan base and go, ha, 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 the Lakers beat you. No, if the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Lakers, no one gives a shit about the Timberwolves. So why would they have to worry? They go in fully knowing Chris Finch, head coach for the Timberwolves. I'd like to imagine that he probably prepared them during the week saying, look, guys, these guys play entitled. They're spoiled. They have their asses kissed left and right. They're doing interviews on ESPN. LeBron is always wax poetic this, wax poetic that, all this crap. I go, we go in there in game one and pop them in the mouth. They won't be able to respond because they won't expect you to play like dogs. And they dogged it up tonight. They whooped your ass in your house. And a very important game, too. This is the first game in 13 freaking seasons. And the Lakers paid back that home crowd with precisely dick.
Nothing.
And now we're here arguing with a bunch of schmucks about shit we said or we didn't say. You want to believe we said what we said? You want to interpret it how you want? Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Man, that's how I feel
really
about
don't
Riddell
care.
at this point.
I'm responding to it because that's part of the job. Part of the job is to respond to the chat. But if you're going to continue to regurgitate the same shit and this is not the reason why there's a lot of animosity towards it is because you've done this shit already several times. If this was the only night you said this, I take it into consideration. But it's the same thing with you fucking people. Every time something happens that's not good, you come in with your sticks and your tridents and all your bullshit, and you start throwing it at us.
Man, tell me, Joe. But Joe, we got 95 people in here, man. I appreciate everybody that's in here, even the Riddells, even the Bojan Bogdanovic, the ERs. Whether you guys know what you're talking about or not, you're here, man. So appreciate you guys being here. And we got 95 people in here. So appreciate you guys showing love. Make sure you guys subscribe to Lakers Fast Break, subscribe to Lakers Corner. But let's keep it going here, Joe. I guess let's look forward here now to game 2. Just seeing this, terrible game 1. What are some things that that you're going to be looking forward here to game 2, Joe? And what can we expect? What do you think?
They have to match their speed and their energy, otherwise they're not going to win a game. That was the glaring issue tonight. Making shots is fine, get it, but it wasn't that's worried me. That wasn't that was worrying me. What was worrying me was they were a step or two ahead of every play. And if you're not going to give a shit to match that energy and match that speed, you're not going to win a game. You're just not. I don't see them winning a game if that's how it's going to be. Even when they were up in the first quarter, I was like, why aren't they they should be up 15 by now, but they couldn't. They had to deal with Luka because Luka's he's an elite player. You have to, he can keep you in games. But as soon as that reliability is gone, and LeBron can't stop and go anymore. That's not really likely. That's not kind of realistic for you to expect that. You can't. I just don't think that's something you can expect. LeBron has to primer at the beginning and hopefully kind of continue that in relative form. You don't need to go all out the whole time, right? You don't want to bust in a tire, but he didn't do anything in the first quarter. and he couldn't really get going in the second quarter because I don't think he was able to. He had to start running uphill to start going instead of running downhill. It's just it's too many deficiencies from what I've seen. I don't know. They're gonna have to play smart basketball to neutralize it.
They absolutely are. And Riddell, I'm wondering. So he's asking me what I seen that is making me say Lakers in six. Well, first of all, I said Lakers in six before any game. I don't know how you do your predictions, but I don't know if you change after every game. Looking like it looks like you're the prisoner moment type guy where you just change after every single game. I'm standing on my original prediction, and the reason why is because one, the Lakers notoriously, and this is something I even said also in the video, Lakers notoriously struggle with game ones, kind of a feel out games. Not no type of excuse, but that's something that the Lakers notoriously do. Something to keep in mind. But you know what it's going to come down to, in my opinion, is the matchup that we're gonna get, and getting Rudy Gobert played off the court, right? I don't think we did a very good job of this for a couple of reasons, right? I think AR had a really bad game. LeBron, to LeBron standard, had a really bad game. And I just don't think we did a very good job of hunting Rudy Gobert. Like, that's something that we've seen years and years and years in the past, of Rudy Gobert getting played off the court because he's constantly getting hunted. It actually happened in this game. In the first play in this game, Luka got the switch, got to the foul line, and then Rudy Gobert actually did kind of get played off the court when he had 3 fouls. Even doing that, right? Because you get the switch so much, you get so many fouls, get him in early foul trouble, kind of gets played off the court, and I'm not expecting. I know that something like that is gonna come at some point in the series. But to answer your original question, Rodell, I'm not flip flopping game after game. Again, I give the Timberwolves so much credit for the 3-point shooting that they've been doing all year long. But I'm just gonna be honest, guys. I don't see it sustainable. Julius Randle hitting 4 threes, because it wasn't sustainable in the regular season. I didn't see it in the regular season. I don't see them continuously shooting 50% from the 3-point line throughout the series. They did in one game, and the same way that Sam Kuhn said, when we beat OKC, we shot the absolute lights out. Did that mean we would have beat them in the 7-game series? Come on, guys. It's just, a one game type situation, man. One game type situation. But let me see what the chat here is saying. Joe, do you got anything you want to jump in here?
Uh, you someone had commented that the Wolves are a top notch defense.
They said the Wolves are. Let me see if I can pull that up here.
I'm looking at the defensive ratings. I don't see him in the top 25.
Brian Greeny, this one right here. The Wolves are elite defensively.
Define elite, because I'm looking at the defensive rating and they're not even in the top 25.
Yeah, hold on. No ego. Do you know why Rudy Gobert had 3 fouls in the first half? And I'm guessing you're talking about me. Do you know why? And this is a perfect example, Joe. I love this. Here is going to differentiate between real hoopers and the guys that just watch TV on their fucking couch and never really did this. Do you know why he had 3 fouls in the first half? Go watch that first half. Go watch how many times he was targeted to get those 3 fouls early, because you get the switch. If I get a slight bit of an angle on you, which Luka did in the first play of the game, if I get a slight bit of an angle on you, I'm to the hoop. Now you behind me. Now all I got to do is my Trae Young stop and pop. Oh, that's a foul. Oh, I'm going to the free throw line. Getting him in early foul trouble is playing him off the line. So that is what I'm talking about. No ego.
Okay, never mind. They rated at 6. Sorry. Oh,
I was gonna say I do know they're like defensively, offensively top 10. But
yeah, it's weird. I got two different stats here. It was weird. One says NBA teams defense 2025, and they weren't in the top 25. And then when I went to defensive rating, that's when they showed up 6th.
It's funny, the Lakers would have won this game. They would have been saying the series is over. Honestly, guys, I really want to know, like, who at all said this series is over, Joe? Like, yeah, I feel like they think we have this like unwavering confidence, right, or like this arrogance, and it's like we know We know it could go both ways. Do we have a prediction of ours? We absolutely do. But even if we would have won this game,
I don't care about the future at the moment. I'm focused
well,
on if
Yay!
the
A
Lakers
subscriber.
I thought Gerald joined.
if the Lakers want to win the series, they're gonna have to eliminate their bad habits. It's as simple as that. And if Luka's going to be the only guy that's going to come out the gate with 13, 14, 15, 16, 20 points the first quarter, there's going to need to be a residual from that in the second quarter when he sits. If his team is built on with Luka, LeBron needs to do some things that maybe he's never done before. I don't know if he's capable of doing that in his 22nd season. He's not going to go. He's not going to roam around like Reggie Miller and try to get to a spot to shoot. He doesn't do that. So what is his worth in that moment? Now he did sit a lot in the first quarter while that was going on too. Maybe that's something that they need to consider. And then the second quarter, he wasn't really handling the ball much. He needs to dictate the defense at that point, or I'm sorry, dictate the offense. But he didn't really do that. So what is LeBron's job when Luka sits? That's the question to ask. And then what's the job when they're both playing?
Man, Joe, I want to see the chat after our Lakers win. I want to see if a lot of these people.
No, I'm not. Look, it's this is
It's hilarious.
There's like 5 or 6 guys that are always
Just
stains. That
trolls.
I don't even want to call them trolls. That's too nice. They're jizz stains. They're classic jizz stains. Jizz stains are excrement. That's really what it is. That's not out of your ass. That's what that is. And you just can't pay attention to it. They're just here to gloat. They're here to shit on you, that's part of being a personality that's got a little bit of a following, and that's how they get off on it. And that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. I'm thinking about something right now that I don't really know about. I didn't know it before the season, before the series, and I didn't know now. I don't know now because I'm just going by my instinct, and it didn't feel right. I didn't feel well about it. I didn't feel good playing the Minnesota Timberwolves at the beginning.
Man, and I think that playoffs always comes down to matchups. And granted, I still do think we're going to take it, but would have loved a Warriors matchup here, which is why it would have been great.
If you want to talk reality, this team is not equipped to win a championship, even still. But if there was going to be a chance, they needed things to play out perfectly.
And we've said this, Joe. We've said this.
Yes.
We've been stated on the record multiple times saying we feel like the Lakers have had their best basketball in the past, and instead of the best basketball ahead of them. We have already said this team will not win a championship. So just want to go ahead and throw this out there for whatever happens here throughout the playoffs. If the Lakers happen to get knocked out, I don't want to hear everyone come in here saying, you guys said they would win a championship. No, we didn't. No, we did not say they would win a championship. And we've been stating this and putting this on the record for
I don't want to give that. I don't want to give it attention. I think it's good for entertainment every now and then during the show. But at some point, if the nonsense continues, then you're part of the problem. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Someone will twist it into something, and that's why so many people have divorces. That's why so many people have bad friends. They make bad decisions in their lives. They work in a place that sucks ass. They have bosses that suck ass. It's all decision making. Life is about decision making, and most of the people out there make terrible decisions, terrible, that are the detriment to their lives, not only for that moment, but forever. I don't really make bad decisions. I make mistakes. A lot of times they're around things I don't know, and I make a mistake. But bad decisions at some point when you're a grown adult and and people look at you to lead, you can't be that guy that's continually making bad decisions.
Bogdanovich, dude. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, brother? Again, there's one thing of getting lucky, and there's another thing catching lightning in a bottle. And again, McDaniel's putting up 25 when he hasn't done that all season long, except the Hornets is more than luck. But yeah, absolutely. And everyone knows you need luck to win a championship. Everyone knows you need luck in
Um,
basketball. But
luck.
you do need some. You need
It,
luck as far as not getting injury. I'd
yeah,
say
luck
that.
is an interesting word in 7 game series. There is some luck, but not as much as it would be in a 1 game take it do or die game. Sometimes you can get lucky with a fumble or an interception that tips. That's that was I would say that's kind of a little bit of luck. But then if you're always there, that's not luck. You did have every team has some form of small luck, but this was not a lucky win. This and maybe they're looking at this they're too deeply with the word. Maybe it was more of they were fortunate that their shot was going in today, because typically they're not going to hit 21 threes in a game, especially on the road. That's true. Randall was hitting shots left and right. He's not going to make those shots all the time. But a lot of it had to do with blood in the water today. As soon as the blood in the water hit, Minnesota took advantage of it. I'd say that was the biggest thing in the game is once the Lakers started quitting a little bit, not maybe on purpose, but you could see that kind of were down on themselves. That was it. And the Lakers aren't going to come back from these kind of games the longer the season goes either, because they don't do the little things. And they're not particularly clutch, even though they have a clutch player on the team they haven't used in 2 months, really. And they just can't seem to do the small things. They're just brain dead in those moments. They have too much. There's too much brain shutdowns in those moments.
Man, Joe. Man. Joe, Lakers, and I mean, I guess for anyone that's just joining us here now, Lakers lose to Minnesota Timberwolves 117-95, losing game one. Um, and we still got 88 people in here, man. So appreciate all 88 people being in here strong. Joe, is there anything you want to touch on here before we start to head out here? I don't know if you're gonna do a nightcap here tonight or anything like that.
Well, I'm not going to do a nightcap. I have my own show now.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
I'm gonna say this, and and for the earwax and shittier people out there that, and you know who you are. I'm gonna make it very clear so you can take your receipts and shove them up your fucking ass. The Lakers body language today was not good. I didn't like it. And if that body language shows up on Tuesday, it's going to be a blowout again. You get blown out at home, both games at home, they're not going to win another game. So that's what I'm looking at. It wasn't about missed shots. It wasn't about made shots, really. I know that Minnesota had a good game. McDaniels had a good game, but it was the body language that I noticed. There was fear. There was fear in LeBron's body language. There was fear in Austin Reeves' body language. And then when Rui and DFS got punched a little bit, there was fear there. Lakers got punked tonight, and it wasn't just making shots. It was a bully telling them, "You're our bitch, and we just came in your house and fucked you up."
Yeah.
Did you hear that, ER? Stick that up your fucking ass. Write that receipt down. Write that receipt down. Did you hear what I said? Now, if you turn that into saying that I said that the Lakers are going to do whatever or Minnesota's going to do whatever, now you got a clear understanding of what's going on today on April 19th. We have a lot of days between now and the next game. You got your little attention. So go ahead and do that. Put it right up in there. Do it with both hands, too. You have enough room up there.
Tell him, Joe. Tell him. Well, y'all heard that, man. ER. I hope you heard that loud and clear. Joe had that message here for you. Bogdanovich or whatever that guy's name is. Yes, you too, brother. You don't get it, but I would love to see you guys here for next game. Would love to see you guys here, moving forward as we are going to keep going here with our post game shows. But for now, let me see. All right, sounds good. Joe, I'm gonna hop here to do my 3 minute game recap. But Joe's gonna keep the show going. Joe, I appreciate you, brother. And I will see you here on Tuesday unless we get a show here in the meantime. But it was great to see you, my brother.
Thank you. Good to see you
All
again.
right.
We'll talk later. I'll keep the sheep herded.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you. See you,
All
no
right.
jokers. See you, everybody.
Later. All right. So we're back already. We're going to discuss a little bit more detail here. So looking at the setup, Minnesota's up 1-0. Minnesota came in, whooped their ass, and it didn't look like it was much of a battle for Minnesota. This team is young enough and looks like motivated enough to make a run in this series. How the Lakers can stomp that out is wily veteran leadership and execution. You do have Luka Doncic. You do have Austin Reeves, who hasn't really looked like Austin Reeves a little bit of the last couple of years in the playoffs. That has to change too. They're going to desperately need Austin Reeves. If Austin Reeves is passive in any way, this is going to go really, really bad. LeBron James, on the other hand, I've seen plenty of stars in their later years scale back at the beginning of the games and try to acclimate as they're going through the game just to kind of get a feel for the game. But that's not likely going to be something that works because they need LeBron to cover for Luka when he's not in there. This is a Luka run offense at its peak at this point. It's all ISO or getting to the basket and creating traffic and hitting the open guy. And if that isn't what LeBron does when Luka sits, I don't know how this offense is going to work in the playoffs. Let's see here. I'll go to some of your comments here. Joe, what was the second chance points? That's a good question. That was probably another thing that we didn't talk enough about. Second chance points. Minnesota had 13 offensive rebounds, but hold on a second here. Sorry, 11. I'm sorry, they had 11, and the Lakers had 13. But the 11 that they had were immensely more impactful than what the Lakers had. It was at the worst times. So it's something you'd have to watch the game to really know how impactful those rebounds were. The rebounds, the offensive rebounds that they got were a lot more devastating in this game. They stunted runs, they extended runs, and it took the heart out of the Lakers. So I'm not looking at that just purely from a who had more standpoint. It was when they got it. So that's something to understand. If you want to really understand it, go watch the game again, and you'll see what I mean. Points off turnovers. I didn't really notice too many. I didn't notice, like, I know they had turnovers, but it wasn't something that was catastrophic. It wasn't something that I saw from my recollection where it was like, oh wow, this really hurt them. I mean, they had 13. Lakers had 13 turnovers, and while that's not a good number, but I didn't think it was a bad number either. It wasn't like they had 20, 22 turnovers in the game. We got killed on the fast break. Let's see here. We got killed on the fast break points. The transition defense has been horrible all year. That's probably going to be horrible no matter what. And most teams are, I don't know, I kind of noticed there wasn't a lot of transition stuff going on the last few months. Again, that's just kind of from my memory. But if you do want to make the Lakers work, get them in transition. They don't really have a lot of guys that can match Minnesota athletically, and they're not really fundamentally. They're not there either, so you can have an advantage. Although they kept hitting their threes on fast breaks, that obviously helps. Going on a fast break, breaking down the defense, and then you still get a three out of it. I think that's kind of like, again, the emotional three turns into more like 6 points because of the fact that they're devastated by that shot going in. Okay, let's see here. Bogdan, you're like running all over the place today. I'm gonna go to Sam here real quick. 1 second. Bogdan, it's more like 2020 when they lost the first two. Okay, so I was going to mention this. Thank you for bringing that up, Sam. So the Lakers in the first two series in 2020, they played Portland and they played Houston, and they lost both game one games, and they were pretty bad losses too. And then, of course, they ended up doing the gentleman's sweep in both games. This is not the same team. So while there could be a chance they could do it, there's always a chance, right? But this team isn't constructed like that team was. That team had Rondo, it had KCP, it had Alex Caruso, it had, in my view, the best Anthony Davis that's ever played in the NBA. And then you had LeBron, who was still at the tail end of his prime. You have three guys that are legit defenders, and even Danny Green, who was not shooting well that year. That was the whole point of getting Danny Green that year, is because he could be that championship medal guy who'd won in San Antonio and Toronto. But he had a bad year shooting, but his defense was good. So you had Danny Green who could D up. You had Rondo who could D up. You had Caruso who could D up. You had KCP who could D up. And then even Kyle Kuzma, who, again, much like Danny Green, didn't shoot as well as we wanted him and hoped that he would that year. We thought that would be the kind of threshold transition year for him, because now a lot of the attention was going to go to guys like AD and LeBron. We thought, man, this guy's going to get open shots. Kuzma's been kind of building up since his rookie year. Perfect situation for him. However, didn't work out. Didn't work out. I'll get to Dwight in a minute here, Bogdan, because I was waiting for someone to mention Dwight in that, but I have something to say about that. So they had that nucleus, and almost every single perimeter player on that team was a defensive type player. That goes a long way in being able to, and the guys with timely, all you needed was one of those guys to hit their shots in whatever game they're playing. So timely shots came from KCP one game. Timely shots came from Alex Caruso one game. Timely shots came from Rondo, even in the games he didn't play, but then when he got inserted to play, because Frank Vogel had Rondo on a string. There were games where he didn't play, and there were games where he did play. And when he did play, in my view, again, that year, I never saw Rondo shoot as well as he did in that run. Like, he was hitting threes left and right. And I had never seen him shoot that well. So that was a huge asset that they had. So defenders, smart guys like LeBron, smart guys like Rondo, smart guys like AD, smart guys like Alex Caruso. You have all these guys that can D up, shoot timely shots. You had the big dog back there who I thought got cheated beyond cheated in winning Defensive Player of the Year that year, and Anthony Davis. Not only was he guarding the house, but he was guarding the neighbor's house. He was guarding the firehouse next door to the neighbor's house. He was guarding the doghouse. The guy was everywhere. He was like Troy Polamalu that year. So when you have that team and they lose game one, you don't really worry too much, because they'll adjust, and it might have been one of those things where maybe they just needed to kind of see what you had, kind of like Floyd Mayweather, when he would lose the first 3-4 rounds in a fight. As soon as he gets kind of your pattern, then he wins 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and all the way to 12 to win in a unanimous decision. This team does not have that. It just doesn't have those assets. It doesn't really have, other than DFS, there's not really any kind of perimeter player that can really guard up in a consistent manner. Jared Vanderbilt has his moments. He's there for that, but he's too inconsistent. And even if he is consistent, his offensive game is so bad, it usually negates how good he does on defense. You look at guys like Caruso, Rondo, KCP, Kuzma, those guys, well, maybe not Kuzma, but you look at those three, the Rondo that year during the title run, KCP and Caruso, those guys were consistent when they were on. They hit shots. They were very, very effective with that and spreading the floor and really making it hard for the opponent to have to dedicate themselves to still prime LeBron and obviously prime square AD. Now, Dwight Howard was an asset in that run, but only for one series, and that was the Denver series, because Portland and Houston and Miami were all small ball teams, whereas Denver was a big team, and you were able to use Dwight to somewhat contain Jokic, and Jokic wasn't necessarily Jokic of what he ended up becoming a year later. That it was a year later when he became Jokic. At that time, he was just a year away. So Dwight Howard did a real good job containing him for 5 games and was an asset in that respect. But he was non-existent in the Miami series, especially the Miami series, because he provided nothing for a team that was running and gunning and playing small ball, and the Lakers ended up matching that, and obviously they ended up winning the series in 6. Let's see. All right. AD is awful, not reliable, buddy. Okay, you stupid fucking moron. I'm talking about 2020. Okay? Open your fucking ears. Unless you're being an asshole, fine, because I'll just ignore you at this point. But seriously, I got a feeling you're not being an asshole. I have a feeling you're that dumb. I said in 2020, not now. Okay. Bradley wasn't in the bubble. No, Bradley took a COVID leave. Even Gabe Vincent from Turlock. Gabe Vincent is not from Turlock, he's from Stockton. I would give some of Diaz. No, Dalton can't play defense, ER. That's another bad night. You're having a terrible night, dude. You should go to sleep. Go get supper. It's late to get supper. Go eat. Ask mommy if you can go to bed early. She'll probably ask you what's wrong. Let's see. Bet lines. T-Wolves will go 7. Let's see here. Let's see what the lines are after this. This is interesting. Bet in Vegas. Lakers and T-Wolves will go 7. Refs will take it to 7. NBA wants Luka, LBJ, and 7. Johnny, what does that mean? What do you mean the NBA wants Luka and LBJ 7? You have any idea what it would take for a league to fix a 7-game series? You don't think somebody would snitch with all the pussy ass bitches out there in the world? You don't think somebody would have snitched on them by now? Even that whole ref scandal back in 02. The NBA wasn't in on it. It was strictly the refs doing it. Modesto. Wow, I'm hearing a lot of my old stomping ground names. Was game from Modesto. What game? Yeah, but fixing this game to go 7, I don't. You're gonna have to bring me some proof on that one. I think they'll set up schedules to hope that they can get things. I would say that they have control over that, but not much. Not much after that. But anyways, we're coming up on the 90-minute hour. So with that, I do want to thank everyone except ER for coming here tonight and speaking basketball. The Lakers lose tonight in dramatic and horrible fashion, 117 to 95 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is game 1 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. The Lakers' next game is on Tuesday, and we are going to cross our fingers and hope that they are prepared this time for what's coming. And if it's going to be an athletic endurance momentum game for the Lakers, they better match that exactly with the Timberwolves. Otherwise, they could quickly find out they're going to be down 2-0 in both home games. This is a likely must-win game because of the circumstances of this roster and where they are. So I'm going to cross my fingers that they learn something here between now and Tuesday. Get the win on Tuesday, and then you're going to probably have to steal 1 in Minnesota in the next 2 after that to get this probably in 6. But I think losing game 1 at home usually spells 7, which will be very interesting. It'll be entertaining. It'll be a game 7 in the Crypt if there is one. And we'll obviously be here to showcase it and talk about it. So with that, on behalf of myself, Joe Soro, John Costa, the LFB crew, especially the Godfather, Joe Glassford, we will see you likely tomorrow on a Lakers weekend, maybe a snack. And until next time, we will see you next time.